Something I find weird about the modern spiritual community is that there's really little to no shared bedrock of belief. You can walk into any spiritual space and be bombarded by a plethora of people who have completely inconsistent worldviews. Some of them are trying to be fortune tellers, some of them are trying to be psychologists, and some of them are just trying to find really creative ways to roast you. And especially as an astrologer, this can be even more frustrating because while we clearly share the same techniques, everyone disagrees about how we're using the techniques. Learning can be a nightmare when everyone disagrees on how interpretation should go. And the leading consensus amongst most of the spiritual community, as I've seen it, is that everything is valid. But if everything's valid, then we have no way to distinguish between what's nonsense and what's genuine wisdom. No standards, no quality control, just this endless agreeability where harmful practices get just as much respect as the genuinely helpful ones. What's happening is people are creating these Frankenstein monsters of belief where they're unironically mixing fatalistic thinking with manifestation culture. So which is it? Are we bound by our chart, or can we manifest anything that we want into existence? Do bad transits guarantee that bad things are going to happen, or is it just another energy that we get to choose how to work with? This isn't just some abstract philosophical problem. In a world where astrology is getting more popular, this could cause real harm. When there's no shared understanding of what we're doing, there are no shared ethics about how to do it. Look, I have seen plenty of astrologers project their entire belief system and their biases into someone else's chart. There's no real mechanism to ask, is this a valid astrological interpretation, or did I just pay for therapy from a 22-year-old who discovered spirituality last year? And look, I know there's a fine line here and we can't go black and white in our thinking. Maybe it's a former youth pastor in me, but seeing astrologers enter the arena with good versus bad, right versus wrong kind of thinking also makes me uncomfortable for reasons. I guess part of the reason I got into astrology in the first place was a rejection of dualistic thinking. I really love the idea that every human archetype has a place, purpose, and reason, and you can't just pigeonhole someone into being good or evil. But even the concept of the shadow in astrology is so inherently biased on our own cultural understanding of what good and evil are. At the same time, if we're unable to find any kind of objective truth in the equation and everything is valid, then is any of it valid? I think the most important part about doing astrology isn't about learning the right or wrong techniques. It's not about memorizing which placements are bad and which placements are good. The most important part is defining and establishing your worldview in a clear and consistent way. Before you touch anyone's chart, including your own, you need to be clear about what it is you think you're doing. Are you predicting fate or exploring possibilities? Are you taking a scientific, methodical approach or a poetic, subjective one? Because until we get philosophically consistent, we're just creating more confusion, and I happen to think astrology deserves better than that. But what do you think? Have you experienced this in your readings or in your sessions with astrologers? And more importantly, what's your astrological worldview? I want to know. Until then, I will see you next time.